Hello, and welcome back to the Getting Started series for ServiceWorks. In our last video, we covered roles and how to set those up. Now we will discuss the permissions. When you go into permissions, you'll see a lot of the check marks are already done for the professional because that was a pre-configured role that came with ServiceWorks. Now I wanted to show you something. If I drop down to where I can select the role and I move to my salesperson, who, if you remember in our previous video, was not checkmarked as a technician, you'll see how the layout and the permissions change for that user. So that's the difference between being a technician and not. It's the permissions. Again, we'll go back to professional. And for this one, we can go through some of these really quickly. Most of them are self-explanatory. I will say view unassigned jobs does come in handy if your technician might be caught up for the day and you have some unassigned jobs on the schedule. They can go into the mobile app. They can click the More button. They can then click the Job Management tab, and they can go out and grab any unassigned jobs so that they can take those over and go out and do the job. You can also uncheck that if you don't want them to be able to do that. Everything through the job here, self-explanatory. If you don't want them to be able to do it, just uncheck the box. If you want them to be able to make changes to the job, or if you don't, just check the boxes. Here, where I was just talking about unassigned jobs, they can make it to where they can just assign it to themselves, or if it's maybe one of your lead professionals, they can take that unassigned job and they can assign it to other professionals. Under the customer, you can decide what they can do in the customer fields of your jobs. Can they edit the customer's name, or can they just simply view the customer and make sure they're at the right house? There's email addresses. You can set it so they can view the customer's address. Again, pretty self-explanatory. Do you want them to create purchase orders? Are they going to be entering parts into the job that they might need, or will you have someone else do that for them? The tricky one here is this dispatch checkbox. If you have a dispatcher, then this checkbox would probably work for you. But what I want you to keep in mind is if this box is checked and a job is not dispatched to a professional, they will not be able to see them on their schedule. They will not be able to see a job until it is in the dispatched status. If you want your technicians to be able to see all of the jobs all of the time, make sure this box is not checked. Again, down here we have employee. In the mobile app, there is the option to request time off. They can edit that if you want them to be able to look at their timesheet, to see what's in there, if they need to make any changes. And then here for settings, if they do happen to log into a computer or on a tablet and they get this UI, this, as you can see, gives them opportunities to access these. Now again, these are usually for admins, but there are some super techs out there who need admin privileges. You can set that up for them by checking that box. So now we have roles set up. We have permissions based on those roles. Next would be adding your users. One more thing before I go that I wanted to point out. I have selected the salesperson role in this drop-down. These again are pretty much self-explanatory, what you want them to be able to do, what you don't want them to be able to do. Two boxes on here that I want you to be aware of. Here, if you have view customer created by user, the only jobs or items on a schedule board this user would be able to see are only those created by themselves. So if you create a job, this person assigned the salesperson role would not see your jobs. So if you want them to see all jobs created by all people, you would uncheck mark that box. The other thing, if you deal with multiple zones, if you have this box and you have Sarah Jones, who's your salesperson, and she is assigned to zone 1, and you have this checkboxed, she will only see jobs or customers in zone 1. She will not be able to see zones 2, 3, and 4, or however many zones you have, or however you have them named. So if you want her to be able to see across zones, make sure that checkbox is unchecked. All right, I think that covers all of the roles. And again, if you have 15 people assigned a salesperson role, these permissions would apply to all 15 people. If you need a salesperson senior and a salesperson junior, you'd probably need to set up another role for salesperson junior with maybe a little bit more restricted permissions. All right, thank you. And our next video, as I said, we'll get into setting up your company users. Thank you.